In what has been the worst kept secret in Sonic history is Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition. This has been a game that has been talked, rumored, and leaked all over again every single day. So let's take a little bit of a short trip back and see just exactly how this game started out as a leak. This game was leaked in May of this year, with a lot of people stating that Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition is going to be coming very soon. But the first indication of this actually being a real thing is a rating in Korea leaked out for Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition. And that was really all that we had to go on, but it was a pretty good piece of evidence to actually reveal that this is a real thing. As in the past, games like Sonic Origins Plus was something that was leaked out in Korea as well, and turned out being true a couple months later. But of course, once this was actually revealed, the speculation started, with a lot of people kind of jumping the gun, thinking that they're going to be adding additional content into the game. Things like making Shadow playable, a whole new island, new skins, and many other things. But of course, the most realistic speculation that we kind of had was this is just going to be Sonic Frontiers with the added DLCs into the game, alongside it just running a little bit better, with better resolution or better frame rate. It was then later on rumored that this was going to be a Switch exclusive and it wasn't going to be coming to all platforms, with a lot of people saying that that's true and not true, but with the vast majority saying that that is true, that it's only going to be for the Switch 2, just being a Nintendo Switch 2 version of Sonic Frontiers. And even fast forwarding a little bit to this week, the game has still yet to be announced, but now retailers like Target and Best Buy and Walmart are now receiving copies of the actual game before it was even announced. There's been some employees taking pictures of the game in terms of what the box art looks like on the front and back of it. There's been a few people that have already noticed that it's on the shelf. It seems like some people were even able to get their hands on the game and are already able to play it on the Switch 2, which is pretty crazy. And this has just been pretty much just a complete mess of being revealed. Like I've already said in this video, this has been the worst kept secret by Sega of any Sonic game to be announced. Even if this is just kind of simply a Nintendo Switch 2 version of Frontiers, it probably would have been more wise on Sega's part to actually announce the game before shipping it out to retailers. But Sonic Frontiers is definitely a game that needed a Nintendo Switch 2 version. In terms, if you've never seen gameplay of how this game actually ran on the Nintendo Switch, especially comparing it to the likes of PlayStation, Xbox, or PC, the game doesn't nearly look as pretty looking. Now, don't get me wrong, this doesn't necessarily affect the gameplay or even your experience of it, and you can still have such a great experience playing Frontiers on the Nintendo Switch 1, but if you do value graphics by any means, the Switch was by far the worst way to play Frontiers. So considering how much more powerful the Switch 2 is, this definitely was a Sonic game most deserving of that treatment. But fast forwarding to the day of this recording, which is Sonic's 35th birthday of June 23rd, Sonic and a bunch of different creators held a Sonic's birthday live stream for his 35th anniversary. This was cool for not only just seeing all of the different things they had in the room that they were streaming from, but also for somebody that does create Sonic content. I love seeing Sega partner up with so many different creators, sending them out to celebrate Sonic's 35th anniversary, as well as partnering with a bunch of different creators to help promote the 35th anniversary over the last couple of weeks, including myself. It's truly been a dream come true, and it just makes being a Sonic creator such a joy to do so. To express our love for Sonic, but also to have Sonic and Sega themselves also show us support and invite us to celebrate our favorite character that truly changed all of our lives is such a really cool thing. As well as just raising money for St. Jude's Children's Hospital is a really cool thing to see Sonic actually take part of, especially for his 35th birthday. But during this live stream, they finally revealed Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition. It's going to include all of the DLC, like the Final Horizon DLC, Sonic's Birthday Bash content, all the different music that you can find, and it's truly just the best way to play Sonic Frontiers now. And it's also a great way just to experience Sonic Frontiers on the go. If you don't have a lot of time to play at home and you're able to bring your Switch 2 alongside with you, you can now experience Sonic Frontiers at such a good level on the go. And I think that's what makes me so happy just to see Nintendo take a console so seriously like the Nintendo Switch 2. As a Sonic fan, it just allows us to play Sonic games at such a high level. A lot of times, personally, just because I like playing Sonic games over and over again and trying to do different playthroughs or use different characters like in Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, I'll buy the game twice. I'll buy it on PC for when I'm at home and want to experience it at the best possible level, as well as having the capability of using mods in the game. But I'll also buy the game on the Switch or the Switch 2, just because I like having that capability if I'm going on a trip or I'm out of town or anything like that. I can play these games on the go. Recently, back in October, I was able to go to Japan, and one of the coolest experiences I had was being on a plane for such a long amount of time. I had the capability of playing a lot of Sonic games on that trip. And now having the capability to play games like Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition, I will 100% pick up the game just to be able to experience it at a better level for when I go on those long trips again. So I think it's a great thing that is coming out. I do, however, think if this is going to take up the slot of the re-release of the year, I do think that some other games definitely deserved it more. Considering there's a lot of games like, for instance, Sonic Unleashed that don't have a way of being able to be played on modern day consoles without emulating it or something along those sorts, I do think that there could have potentially been a cooler re-release for the game, but I still think that this is fine to release a Nintendo Switch 2 version of the game. And I also think that this isn't really going to be taking up that re-release slot. I think that there is going to be something else coming. And within that topic of re-releases, if they're going to partner up more with Nintendo, like releasing Sonic Frontiers for the Nintendo Switch 2, I would actually really like to kind of see them partner up with the Nintendo Switch Online membership, where if you're a member of that, you actually have the capability to play a lot of classic Nintendo games, like games from the Game Boy Advance, or even the most recently had one from GameCube. A lot of those ways to play Sonic on Nintendo consoles were my first experiences of playing Sonic. Playing the adventure games on the GameCube, Heroes, Shadow the Hedgehog, as well on the Game Boy Advance and the likes of Advance 1, 2, and 3, Sonic Battle. Those were kind of my gateway into Sonic and just truly falling in love with the character in the series as a whole. So I would love to see if they, want to do more exclusive stuff with Nintendo. I would love to see them partner up for something like that, as a lot of those games don't have modern day releases. These Sonic Advance games have never been re-released on anything. The only way that you can really experience them is if you actually still have something that plays Game Boy Advance games, and you get the cartridge that has the game on it, or the other way is the way that Sega probably doesn't want you to do it, but emulation. Those have been truly the only ways that you can play those games if you ever want to go back and re-explore them or even just experience them for the first time. The Sonic Advance series, I think, is some of the best Sonic games, especially on portable devices. And a lot of people that may just be getting into Sonic recently, or even over the last couple of years, might not have ever experienced those games. It's also a thing if they decide to come out with more consoles, like a Wii version or even a DS version, you have games like Sonic Rush or even the Storybook series where you can put those games on it as well. I understand that their main focus is obviously going to be, putting Nintendo games on there, and that probably is going to be their first priority, but Sonic just had such a huge impact on those games. But there's also games like Sonic and the Secret Rings and Sonic and the Black Knight that only ever released on the Nintendo Wii. So it's really hard to play that if you're only collecting modern day consoles, or some people just get rid of their old consoles. It kind of, hurts my soul a little bit kind of saying that or even thinking that people do that, being a retro video game collector. But there are definitely people that are like that and just never will have a modern day way of being able to play a lot of older Sonic games. And that's simply just because Sega won't port over a lot of those games, or even Nintendo for that fact. It could be a thing where Sega wants to, but Nintendo doesn't agree to it, or whatever the case might be. But it's hard to say, and it's also kind of hard to tell what their relationship is like. We thought it was very good, but then there were also some jabs during Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, kind of, marketing and releasing. So it's really kind of hard to say in terms of what their connection and relationship is like. I just hope that, Sega isn't being stubborn or even just trying not to work with them and still kind of seeing them as a competitor. It's fine to see them as somewhat of a competition, but I don't think that we're ever really going to surpass Mario and some Nintendo titles. But if you did pick up Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition, how do you guys like it so far? Is it any different from what you can notice from the Nintendo Switch version? Is it better, worse? What do you like? What do you hate about it? I'd love to know how you guys feel in the comments below. With all that being said, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!